back to the Female Morpheus podcast, where we talk all things fitness, spirituality, and level up in order for you to become your best self, break out of the matrix, and win in life. And on today's video, we're going to be celebrating my 6-month sobriety with alcohol. I wanted to start this video off by saying that everybody has their own journey. And I'm not the type of influencer or the type of person that goes out of her way and shame anybody to become sober or shame alcohol, because I've been there, done that, and there's been some life changes and life circumstances that has brought me to this journey. And I know that everybody's path look different. So let's get into the video and let's get into why I became sober. So, I've always wanted to have a sober lifestyle. I knew that my higher self, or the person I was to become, especially when I have a child and I become a mother, I've always envisioned that person as being sober and not relying on like substances to make her happy or to escape. But I'm a very, very social person, you know what I'm trying to say? And I was never like the type of drunk who would get angry or violent. I mean, there have been a few episodes, a few times where I actually really did crash out on like alcohol that we can get into a little bit later. But for the most part, if you know me, ever went out with me, ever experienced me getting lit, I was always the life of the party. So when it came to the conclusion that I had to stop, it was really, really difficult for me to actually accept that. I am diagnosed as bipolar. And since 2020, I actually started taking medications for said bipolar condition, and I started going to therapy. With these medications, you should not be drinking alcohol and mixing medication at the same time. I wasn't particularly doing it on purpose. Like, I wasn't drinking the pills and alcohol at the same time. I would definitely, if I knew that I was going out that day, I would try to like not take the medication or wait a few hours and then take it. But let's be realistic with but with these medications that deal with the brain and with your moods, obviously they're going to stay in your system then more than just 24 hours or one day or a couple of hours. And I used to get away with it. Like, I used to be able to drink, wait a few hours and then take medication and nothing would really happen. But as I got older, I would say, like, especially after the age of 26, the hangovers were horrible. And it just progressively got worse and worse. Every day, the next day, I would wake up and I would be immobile. Like, I would literally be sleeping all day in bed. I would literally not even be able to move. Like, I was literally a vegetable for that day. And it started off with that, but it gradually got worse because then, like, the depression that I would get after and the anxiety, it got so bad, like, towards the end, that I realized that I would have sewer thoughts. And as I was drinking, it was getting more and more aggressive. The episodes were extremely aggressive, to the point where like family and friends were actually really concerned for me, especially like my friends that know me and used to talk to me while I was in the process. I always wanted to accomplish goals in my life. I always had the vision of becoming a content creator. I always had the vision of leaving New York, starting a whole new life, starting after my passions. And the raw dog truth is just that I was not able to focus on being productive on the weekends when I was literally recovering from a hangover, recovering from an emotional episode, or just trying to cope with the fact that I didn't even want to exist. Then the second thing that started happening, which was really, really interesting, was the fact that as soon as I started drinking alcohol, and again, this started like progressing. Like, I'm talking about from the age of like 26 to 30. And now, like, I'm 30 years old. So, you know, this started happening gradually where I would get like stomach pains, really bad cramping. And I remember on Halloween 2025, I had like a Red Bull and vodka, and my stomach was turned. Like, I didn't want to leave the party because it was Halloween and it was really, really fun. But my stomach was on fire. Like, as soon as I would take a sip, it would be on fire. To the point where I actually went to the doctors, got tested, and I swear to God, they were like, nothing happened. But I do have a history of people in my family that have died from stomach cancer. And both of these people that died from stomach cancer and stomach issues were heavy alcoholics. So I kind of put that into perspective. But it wasn't until January 2026, the beginning of January, that I went out with a friend, literally only had like not even a full cup of alcohol. Like, I bought an espresso martini, couldn't finish it because my stomach was literally in pain. Then we went out and someone had like Casamigos, so I had like, you know, cranberry and Casamigos. And not only was my stomach on fire, but the next day it was really, really scary because I started to involuntarily cry. Like, literally my body was shaking, crying. I remember I was talking to this one guy and I had told him, I'm like, listen, like, I can't even talk to you right now because if I talk to you, like, the person that is gonna respond back is not even me, because right now I don't know what's going on. I don't know who this is, but this isn't me. This is just like like my nervous system, or like my nerves were just like out of control. I was crying, I was shaking, I had really, really intense thoughts. Like, I had those bad thoughts. And I was just literally fighting for my life. Like, I was in bed fighting for my life. Everything was pitch dark. You know, and at that time, my mom knew that I was going out. She called, like, crazy enough, she called me over because she wanted to have a conversation with me. And I was trying to avoid this conversation for a long time. Because I have a Dominican mother, so like every time these conversations are had, like it always comes with something. But I wanted to, because I was avoiding the conversation for a very, very long time, I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna thug it out. I went to her house and she was just like, you look bad, you look horrible. I had dark circles under my eyes. And she was just like, why don't you just come to terms that alcohol does not go well with your body? Like, you don't see the fact that alcohol isn't good for you. And it's not even like about like behavior, because again, I was never like really like a crash out on alcohol. But don't you see that it's just not mixing with you? Like, we could evidently tell in your body. And it was painful. Like, it was really, really painful to actually accept the fact. And for a long time, I was even resentful because I'm like, I'm not one of these people that be going out and starting fights and being angry and starting drama. Like, I'm not hurting anybody. I'm just having a good time. I don't understand why, out of all people, this has to happen to me. Why, out of all people, is my body rejecting alcohol when I'm literally the most fun person to be around? And I don't abuse alcohol. Like, it's not like I was drinking every day or even every weekend. I wasn't poisoning myself. I would literally have like a few drinks. And I couldn't even tolerate that. So coming to that fact and coming to that conclusion was very, very humbling. But at the same time, I was just constantly tired of having heavy thoughts. And instead of me able to focus on what I wanted to do in the future, I couldn't even do that because genuinely I was struggling to be afloat. The other thing that I realized is that I had to get really, really comfortable with saying no. And I think that was just one of my issues as to why I couldn't stop drinking, is because, especially as a woman who's attractive, who goes out, I tend to get drinks offered to me all the time. I mean, it's really difficult for you to say no. And I know that it's like you can say no, but in reality, most humans, most people, we're not comfortable with letting people down. We're not comfortable with saying no. So I was just like, you know what? At the end of the day, nobody, no guy, no friend, no family member, not a single soul will be there for me when I'm hung over in my covers fighting for my life because I'm struggling. I'm literally battling with demons that just so happen to pop up while I'm drinking. Like, nobody's gonna be there for me when I'm actually dealing with this by myself. Like, everybody's like, you know, yay, like shots, like let's have fun, like, oh, like, here, have a drink. But will they be there for you when you have to pick yourself up after the aftermath? Like, will they be inside of your body and experience the hangover that you're experiencing? 10 times out of 10, honey, they're not. Like, nobody is physically gonna be able to feel your pain but yourself. And I've come to this conclusion. I'm like, you know what? This is the reality. This is what I go through. And you know what? I'm gonna have to say no, because none of these people that are offering me drinks are gonna go through or help me when I'm in this position. I really had to, like, sit with myself and be okay with saying no. And so I remember there was this particular day. It was my best friend's birthday, and I was getting peer pressured to drink so much. And there's this crazy observation that I made when I was sober. And I'm like, people really get their panties in a bunch when you tell them, no, I don't drink. Like, a lot of people get offended. A lot of people, like, there's such a belief that you, in order to have fun, in order to let loose, you need to have a drink. And a lot of people have this mindset, and you know, and I think about it, like, I don't think that these people are purposely trying to hurt you or damage you. I just feel like society has glorified alcohol, even though alcohol is literally a depressant, literally a carcinogen, literally something that can cause cancer, make you age faster. Like, there's so much negatives when it comes to alcohol, but because society has glamorized it and has created so many social events around alcohol, they make it pretty, they make cocktails, events, and really the most powerful thing is that the fact that they associated alcohol with human connection. So when you say no to people, people are offended. People won't take no as an answer. And I realized this, like, the first week that I went out, that I was sober. I went to my best friend's party. I remember, like, someone offering me a shot, and they were like, when I said no, they were like, oh, like, who do you think you are? Like, oh, don't be, like, don't kill the life, don't, like, you being a party pooper. And I'm just like, how am I being a party pooper? Meanwhile, I'm dressed to the tens. I'm dressed to the gods. Like, I had, like, this white jumper suit on, a fur hat, fur coat. Like, I was looking good. I was dancing. I didn't have, like, a bad face. I wasn't, like, you know, like, I wasn't moping around. I wasn't doing anything, like, that would show that I was being a so-called party pooper. You know what I'm trying to say? And I had to really get comfortable with saying no. I even remember, like, the host of the party, like, going around giving people shots. And when I turned around and said no, like, it made people want to ask why, and they wanted to pressure me more. And it especially hurt because my friends, you know, knew that what I was going through mentally, and they knew why I wanted to stop drinking, and they were offering me drinks. And I'm like, dude, like, do you not know that me drinking is going to put me in a spiral, in a very, very depressive spiral? And if you care about me as a friend, like, why would you, like, this is jeopardizing my life, basically, because we know what happens when I drink. So I had to really, really get comfortable with saying no. And, you know, looking like the oddball, like, looking like people even look at you like an alien, and people try to even pressure you more. So I remember, like, after that night, I had to have a conversation with my friend, and I was just like, I didn't appreciate the actions, and this is just who I'm going to be, who I am now. This is going to be my lifestyle. And like, if you're not going to be okay with that, then I'm not going to be able to like be in your life. And so I understood her side of the point too, because there was so many times that I've said that I was going to drink, and that I was going to stop drinking, and then I ended up drinking. So we haven't had like any issues or anything like that then. But yeah, it was just so crazy. I felt like I was being tested, not just by my friends, but by God, because I've literally been declining free drinks. Like, it's like I decline free drinks. I've declined so many things because I'm just like, no. It really just goes back to the concept of, people will be there for the night and will have fun with you, but will they be there when you're trying to hold on for dear life? They're not. So the answer is no. Get comfortable with telling people no. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video. And this is where I'm going to become extremely transparent, extremely like raw and vulnerable in this part of the video, because becoming sober made me face so many demons and intensified other coping skills that were not healthy for me. And as you guys know, you probably seen on my page, I have went through a weight loss journey. I had the gastric sleeve surgery, but that didn't take away the fact that I still struggle till this day, with my relationship with food. And so what would always happen when I would try to go sober in the past is my relationship with food would always intensify. Like, I would always then rely on food more, and I would always like just replace alcohol with eating. Then I'd gain the weight, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I'd rather just freaking drink alcohol than go through this process and like, because either way I'm damaging myself. So when I finally made the decision to stop drinking, it certainly did intensify my relationship with food. It caused me to binge eat. It caused me to like just have a diet that I didn't even like. I was just eating junk to eat junk. And this is why I also worked with the therapist, because she didn't just specialize in alcohol, but it was just like general substance abuse. And obviously, like, binge eating is not a substance, but it is considered an addiction. And I had to look at a lot of things in my life, and I had to like really like look at the triggers. One of the triggers that I was binge eating was because of the medication that I was on for my bipolar disorder. And it was a medication that I would have to take at night, but it would literally give me the munchies. Also, as well as realizing that I was anemic. So there was a lot of things like that my body was asking for, and it translated into food, into unhealthy food, but really it was my body asking for vitamins. So in the journey of becoming sober, my relationship with food did intensify, but it also made me discover a lot of things that I was consuming that I really wasn't aware that was increasing my appetite. So I have like since January till now, I have gained weight, but I could also say that I'm actually grateful for that, because it forced me to really look at the habits and the things that were triggering the binge eating and the relationship with foods. And now I can say, slowly but surely, we are losing the weight back. Let's talk about my other coping skills, which were smoking weed. Now, this is something that I definitely am still struggling with, because once I stopped drinking, I started picking up the habit of smoking weed. Now, I've always smoked weed since I was 16 years old, and then it kind of became like a daily thing up until I started taking medication. Once I started taking medication, I kind of stopped, But last year, when I moved back into my mom's house, I started the habit of smoking weed. And so when I stopped drinking, the habit of smoking weed became really more intense. And honestly, I like weed. I have nothing against weed. The only issue that I have with weed is that one, it gives me the munchies. And I already struggle with my relationship with food. And two, it just makes me lethargic. It makes me lazy. And I realize, like, if I smoke it and then try to go to the gym the next morning, I cannot wake up because I'm freaking sleeping. So in this moment, I try to balance it out. Like, I tell myself, like, I do want to smoke, like, socially or when I really, really need it, because marijuana has definitely helped me when I have, like, a headache or, like, I feel nauseous. So it has been medicinal, but it also forced me to be like, you know what? When I feel an emotion, when I feel uncomfortable, when I'm trying to, like, process something, because I can't go to alcohol, I shouldn't really be running to smoke weed either way, because I'm still numbing my feelings out, right? And that ties in with another coping skill that I have, right? Which is being codependent and having, like, situationships. Now, essentially, I want to become a wife. I want to become a mother. And there has been, like, a fluctuation of guys that I've had, like, really great chemistry with, really great friendships, but they don't want a serious relationship. But I feel like in society, like, women lie to ourselves. Like, we tell everybody, like, yeah, we can have casual sex, but we end up, or at least I end up, catching feelings. And so I always find myself in the constant loop of being in these little situationships, cutting them off, and then finding somebody else who has, like, who literally has, like, the same issue, just in a different body. And so, it was really humbling for me, because since January that I started my sobriety journey, it has been a very lonely and isolating process. And not just because of the alcohol part, but because a lot of my friends are, like, married and have kids. So they're not available to go out the way I be going out, or how I would like to go out. So I had to sit in that loneliness. I had to sit in the uncomfort of being alone. And let me tell you guys something. I'm an extrovert. I like people. I like to surround myself around people, not just around men, but, like, I like having friends. I'm a Leo. I'm an extrovert. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? So at first, it was really difficult for me to accept the fact that I was on my lone wolf journey. It was, like, difficult to accept the fact that I had to be by myself. And in the beginning, right, in the first few months, I'm not proud to say this, but I definitely did entertain people that I knew that I shouldn't have entertained, just because I was lonely and I wanted the company, and I'm not drinking, I'm not going out. And then I realized, like, this is hurting me, because the first 2 months is fun. Then it's all hee hee ha ha up until I catch feelings, and this person is just like, well, I never wanted nothing serious with you to begin with. And so it was very recently that I had to come to terms with, you know what? I'm in my caterpillar era. I'm in my isolation era. And I don't think that this is a coincidence. I don't think anything in life is a coincidence. And I think that if God separated me and is forcing me to be by myself, it's for a reason. And I had to cut off ties. I had to cut off relationships. And it's very difficult to walk away, especially when you have hope and you have feelings. But I had to realize, I had to take accountability first, because I'm like, I should have never entertained that and done that, because I knew that this person wasn't good for me. I knew who this person was, and I still went along with it. And I did that because I was lonely and I'm not really drinking or going out anymore. So I had to hold myself accountable. And number two is, I had to learn how to be by myself. I have to learn how to enjoy my solitude. I had to learn how to embrace the feelings, which comes to my not final part, but almost final part. Feelings. Feelings are, it's so funny because we as human beings, we are constantly running away from our feelings, whether we like to admit it or not. This is why a lot of people do drink, a lot of people smoke, a lot of people eat a lot of people even go to the gym. Like, I would say that emotions as a human being is really intense. And I didn't like feeling them. But I realized that not feeling your emotions will have you in situations that could have been avoided had you just sat down and processed those emotions. Hiding your emotions will have those emotions creeping up and punching you in the back of the head when you least expect it. And also, you can also even create autoimmune diseases. So when I tell you guys, like, it has been very, very humbling to be like, you know what, I am by myself. I don't have friends. I don't have a man. I don't want empty connections, people that just want to be with me for my body or just to have access to me. So I'm going to learn how to be by myself. It has been truly, truly humbling. And even like, I had to go through, there was even like a particular day where I just remembered everything from my childhood, my teenage years. I had to like really go back and like reopen those wounds on how I became codependent and how I became so complacent with entertaining situationships, and like the relationship with my food, which shout out to my therapist, she really did help me. But in conclusion, it all comes down to like, I want real connection. I always wanted real connection, and I always wanted to be seen outside of just being beautiful or having a nice body. But at the end of the day, we live in a dog world, and I don't even blame men. I don't blame men, because it's like, it's just biology. Like, you see a pretty woman, obviously like you're gonna want to like have access to her, but it's really up to you. It's your responsibility who you let into your life and how you let people make you feel. And I realized like, I'd rather be by myself and be alone than to be with someone and feel lonely. Honestly, I would have never guessed that becoming sober and making the decision to say no to alcohol would have triggered such a transformative and deep healing process, because it opened my eyes to other coping mechanisms that I had, and the reason behind it, like the layer behind it, and really just forced me to be okay with my solitude. And I'm really, really grateful, because there's actually been creators here on YouTube. I think one of them, Jeremiah Schwartz, and another one, Ori Sticks, that they're so open and honest about what happens when you go through a transformation and when you go through a breakthrough. And one of the things that happens when you're going through a breakthrough is death. Obviously not physical death, I'd hope, but in a sense where you have to let go of things, people, habits that no longer serve you, because that just doesn't hold space with who you are going to become. And a lot of people don't talk about the in-between phase of not being who you were, but also not fully being who you are, right? And the little void stage in between, where it's like, you're empty. You're alone. You let go of what you were supposed to let go of, certain relationships, habits, and things you had to let go of, and now you're just in a weird like cocoon stage, almost like somebody just ripped the skin off of you and you're just like there like ugh. But you know what, that void, that time to yourself is so necessary, because it just quiets the outside world and really makes you focus on things that you have been ignoring for years. It focuses on the things that you've been putting on the side, that you've been shoving down. All of those feelings come up, but the beautiful thing, and the thing that most people don't talk about, is that the other side of those feelings is the new you, the happier you, the more peaceful you. And also, like, once you go through that stage, you then start to attract abundance and the people that are meant to be in your life. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And that's where I'm at right now in life. Like, I've definitely been in my isolation era, definitely have embraced it, but definitely have like scraped and burned my knee and learned the hard way that, like, yeah, I need to be by myself. And now I do see more opportunities, more people, and it's a very slippery slope because you can go back to being your old self. Like, you know, aside from alcohol, aside, because there's other coping skills that we have that aren't as bad as alcohol, but that we still have that we need to work on. So I feel like now that I'm attracting more people and opportunities in my life, I also do honor the fact that it's like, you know what, I had to like isolate myself, be by myself, and I'm not gonna let anybody just take me on the path, take me off this path, because it took me a long time to settle in the path, and I'm not gonna let anybody distract me from that. But what's crazy is that the after result is that I've been able to accomplish a lot of things that I have been putting in the back burner for so many years. Like, I finally learned how to drive. I've been 30 years old. Mind you, I live in New York, so, but I've always wanted to learn how to drive so I can leave New York. And I am in the process now, something that I've never done in my entire life. I've been following up with the things that I've said, and instead of me like getting lit and being hungover on the weekends, I'm actually now taking this time in order for me to grow on social media. And I've hit 5,000 followers on Instagram, working myself on TikTok, and finally created a YouTube that I've told myself for years that I was going to accomplish. We always have the mindset of like tomorrow, like, oh, like, you know, you didn't do this, it's not a big deal, it's not in the end of the world. But all of those promises that you leave start accumulating. And I feel like I've been glowing. I feel like I am becoming a new person. I'm finally coming from that caterpillar stage into becoming a butterfly, because the confidence and the glow that you get when you actually stick to your word and do the things that you've been telling yourself you're gonna do is unmatched. Like, you can have the best body, the best face, money, but in reality, if you don't stay true to who you are, and if you don't stay true to your words, then you will never have the confidence, because you're always used to betraying myself. And I feel like, wow, like, I've been doing and I've stuck to my words since the beginning of this year, and I have accomplished a lot. I'm finally starting to see the fruits of my labor, and I know that this is just the beginning. And honestly, I wouldn't trade this feeling in the world. If I could have done sobriety sooner, I should have, especially in the beginning of my weight loss, because let's be honest, like, alcohol really does add on the pounds and the inflammation. But it's such a beautiful feeling to know that I don't need alcohol to make me happy. I don't need alcohol to be the life of the party. I am the party. I am the life. I am the sun. And anybody who's gonna be in my life needs to honor that and enjoy that and respect that. I feel like if you have a voice, if something in your heart is telling you to do something, in this case, stop drinking alcohol, please follow that voice, because there could be consequences from not listening to your intuition. But on the other side of listening to that intuition and that voice, that warning voice that tells you to stop, the other side of it, even though the process is really difficult, is really, really rewarding. Actually, there's a lot of celebrities that have mentioned that they stopped drinking, right? In order for them to achieve their goals. But on social media or on their music videos, they're actually drinking. But yeah, in real life, they're actually really, really focused and accomplishing their goals. I think that not drinking actually makes me sexier. It makes me stand out. It makes me different. And it makes me confident in who I am, because if I'm able to not drink and I'm able to have that discipline, what else am I able to accomplish? Also, I feel like you don't need to hit rock bottom in order for you to stop drinking alcohol. You can just simply say and decide to yourself, like, I don't like the way I feel when I consume alcohol. I don't like having hangovers. I have shit to do, and like going out to feel crappy for the next days is just not on my MO. It's not on my agenda. I don't have time for it. And you can say no, and when it comes to society and people making you feel bad, because trust me, they will, you have to understand that, like, most people are brainwashed. Most people are sold to an idea of what fun should looks like. But if you ask me, I don't think that fun should look like ruining your liver and then having like headaches and feeling like crap the next day. I don't think that that's what fun should look like. I don't think that, even if it's popular to go out and have a mimosa, like, I don't think that you should just follow by society's rules, because a lot of things that society promotes are things that are poisonous to us. So they sell us the problem and the solution. Alcohol is probably like $1 billion company in America. A lot of companies are profiting off people having alcohol and substance abuse. And in reality, what are you getting in return? It's really, really important for you to honor yourself, honor your intuition, honor your path. And if this is something that's in your heart, if you are sober curious, I don't think that it's for no reason. Yeah, this is my life update, my 6-month sobriety alcohol update. I really don't miss it. Honestly, truly, I really don't miss it. It feels good to just go out and, not have to worry about a hangover, still be productive the next day. The other coping skills definitely are being worked on, but I feel like it's just one day at a time. And again, I think it's just something so beautiful in being unique and being you and learning how to say no. So this has been all. If you guys do need help, if you guys are sober curious or looking to improve your fitness, spirituality, or business confidence level, and you want somebody that has been through it, has the knowledge, the experience, and you want to be held accountable, go ahead. They have links. I have links that I'm going to be putting in the description bio, so you can schedule a free call with me and just see how we can help each other out. Again, I am a life coach. I also sell books on how to meal prep, how to channel your energy, and I'm also welcome to all feedback and comments. This has been the Female Morpheus podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this has helped you in any type of way, and I love you. Bye.